Morrison fans and Batman fans out there? Troy to the Max Extreme here.
And Ghost Hunter Dave. I think we can assume that most Morrison fans would inevitably be Batman fans.
Oh, okay. Maybe they don't get into mainstream work.
But maybe if Morrison is behind... This is nothing.
Oh
my.
We are piggybacking on last year's Bat Year.
Wasn't last year, though.
We are piggybacking on last Bat Year and diving into the third of Grant Morrison's Batman.
Threw me for a loop there for a second. To reiterate, last Bat Year, we did Volume 1 of the Grant Morrison Omnibus.
Yes.
This Bat Year, we are picking up and dusting off this tome, Volume 2, which encompasses Batman and Robin and the return of Bruce Wayne himself. Bruce Wayne.
That's right. It's a lot to cover, so strap in.
That's right.
I'm telling us that.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Off, Dave, is...
Troy, I'm glad you're back.
Oh, thank you, by the way. Thanks for having me back.
You bet. You took a little breather there. Probably rested up. Do you have any ailments or injuries that you had to recover from?
Feet, so far, are okay.
All right. Me and Neil, other co-hosts, went to an adult jump park. Not like a mature adults-only jump park, but like the severity of the jumping was catered towards adults. It's like a Ninja Warrior jump park.
Oh.
And we strutted in there like we were just going to fucking lay down. It was incredibly hard, and we failed at just about everything we did.
Well, my feet are no longer fine.
Yeah, just hearing that. By osmosis, you took the brunt of that trip.
I did.
But we did that. Neil's resting up from that. Because we didn't want to burden him with trying to find his footing.
Jump in the middle of
Volume 2 of a Grant Morrison run.
Yeah.
So he's setting this one out. We're going to just pick up where we left off several years ago.
Yeah.
This is after the events of Rest in Peace. And we're going to see where that leads the Bat family. So this is from 2009 to 2011. And it is Batman Reborn.
Here we are.
Baby.
So, following the events of Final Crisis, we find ourselves here without a Bruce Wayne.
No Bruce. There was also a battle for the cowl, apparently, that happened in the midst of all this, where all the Bat children were vying to see who would be the next Batman. And not a great read. I read it a while ago. Didn't take away much from it, other than it sets it up that Dick Grayson, Batman protege, original Robin, is now carrying on in his stead with angry, sullen little Damian Wayne as a morose Robin.
Yes.
Which is a nice dichotomy. As several people have said, Grant themselves have even mentioned it. It was a cool way to look at this through the lens of a happy-go-lucky Batman and a pissed-off, tumultuous teen Robin.
So, being far removed from this originating, I was... like surprised to jump in this and be like, oh, Damian hasn't been Robin yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I just now associate him with being the current Robin, that I'm like, oh. So they make a big deal about it.
I guess he doesn't.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I know, now I only know him as being Robin. And this I'm just like, oh, he's Robin for the first time? Really?
Really? I guess I never really pieced that together. Yeah, I always just took him as Robin too. But there was the whole Volume 1, which was an introduction to Damian, where he just was just pissed off Damian.
That's right.
He wasn't pissed off Robin yet.
And I do like that they kind of flipped the script on the Batman-Robin dynamic in this too. Really fun. I think they could have gone farther with it, I think.
I think Morrison said that if it was up to them, they would have continued this for years. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, this Batman and Robin run is only like 16 issues.
Right.
Before the DC editorial was like, we need to get Bruce back in here. Mm-hmm. We got another Batman movie coming out in a couple of years. We need to get the brand back on.
Yeah.
And they bring him back. But like, I was really enjoying just this duo's adventures.
Yeah.
I didn't need it to all like stretch back into getting Bruce back, which is essentially like what half of this run is.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want them to have like more adventures with like this Circus of the Bizarre or whatever it is. Like,
I wanted to.
And it's interesting because these are all like almost one-off type of issues. They're like 3-issue and 2-issue arcs that apparently were intentionally made that way to be difficult to collect in trades, as Grant has said. But I like just these little fun one-off adventures, which unfortunately there are not too many of in this.
Right. And I did also want to sit in that new Batman and Robin dynamic for a little bit longer. Like, yeah. I was having a good time with it. Because, like, you see Dick becoming Batman.
He's struggling with it a little bit.
He is. And
behind the scenes.
The only time you see it, like, acting, like, differently is when he's actually with Robin. When he's with, like, Commissioner Gordon or anybody out that knows already a preconceived Batman, he's acting as Batman.
Yeah.
Even though they pick up on little inconsistencies, like...
I love that Gordon is like, you're not him, are you? Like, we know you're not him. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, he calls me Jim.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going to call you Commissioner. Yeah, and it's also interesting that Gordon says, like, you know, the other guys at the precinct like you a lot better.
I do like that.
You're a lot funnier. Oh my god. But like, really, Gordon, you're a fucking commissioner. You can't tell that Robin that you've known for years just now has half his face covered.
The other part of his face. Yeah. Oh no, that's not true. But like,
Gordon has facial blindness. No one's ever picked up on it. Batman's been too polite to bring it up. I thought that was odd. But Dick does open up to Alfred at one point where he's like, what am I doing, Alfred? Like, it's not working. And Alfred kind of gives him this heart-to-heart where he's like, quit trying to be Batman. Be like, play the role. Be your version of Batman. Be your take on Batman. Because I'm something of an actor myself, you know. So he imparts that wisdom to him. And then Dick kind of like takes that to heart, and then he's the Dick Grayson Batman.
Yeah. But
again, it's so short-lived that I'm like, God, I want more of this.
Right.
And I think there are a couple other like tie-in titles of all like the detective comics and everything that were written around that time.
Right.
That do expand on this a little bit more. But it seems like Morrison just had so much story they had to get to that you didn't have enough time to really dwell on like the interpersonal relationships during that.
And as this was probably coming out monthly, you were sitting in like Dick Grayson being Batman for like a year and a half, almost 2 years maybe. So it probably felt longer in the moment. Because like, I'm thinking back on the time like, oh yeah, Dick Grayson was Batman for a while. But he's not. It's like in this.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And Batman's in half this. Yeah. I also like how Damian at first is a bit abrasive to him, but eventually settles into it as well.
Yeah.
And there's some moments where like they have a bond together where they're like, you know what, we did some good stuff together.
Yeah, but then again, I think it comes in a little too late in that too. To the point where, not so much late, but it's like late in its run that it's cut off and Bruce is back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we both are in agreement that like we could have taken a longer break from Bruce. But wasn't in the cards.
Nah.
And like halfway through this, we get a mini-series tie-in, The Return of Bruce Wayne. And we get a look at what he's up to. Which is its own beast that we'll wrap our heads around here shortly. Maybe it'll be another episode. We'll see how long this goes. But let's just go right into Batman and Robin.
Sure.
Kicking off hot, big, bold colors on that cover.
Oh, yeah.
Bright yellow cover.
Yep.
And this gorgeous Frank Quietly artwork. What a way to just relaunch the title here.
A bombastic new Batmobile that is just everything you need it to be.
Yes.
It either can drive, fly, swim maybe, we don't know.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think the very first Grant Morrison Batman story was called Building a Better Batmobile.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was like the title of it.
Okay.
And in this, Damian mentions that, like, yeah, he tweaked some stuff and he finally got the new Batmobile running.
I never pictured
11-year-old
him as
kid.
a grease monkey.
Yeah.
Here, too, like in the early goings of this book, we get introduced to new villains.
Yeah.
We have a Professor Pig. We have
do we ever.
We have a Flamingo.
And we also have some returning faces. We have Jason Todd as the Red Hood.
Yes.
Is this his first appearance as the Red Hood?
I was trying to piece that together while I was reading it. I'm trying to put myself back.
Because it's such a weird take on the Red Hood.
It is, yeah. It has to be like a proto version of like what we have now.
Yes, because he seems very out of character, especially coming off the battle for the cowl, that he was like vying for Batman role, and then he's like, actually, I'm gonna be this shithead.
Yes.
And then we also have the return of a Dr. Hurt, who made his appearance in Batman Rest in Peace.
Yes.
And cemented him as one of the most mysterious villains in Batman's repertoire of villains.
But why don't we jump on Professor Pig for a minute?
Please.
So, did you ever play the game Manhunt?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a character in that named Pigsy, who is very similar, I think, to this Professor Pig character.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say, like, he was influenced by them or not, but it's a guy who wears a pig's head or mask, and like is pretty violent towards others. Granted,
pretty violent towards women.
The one in Manhunt is running around fully full frontal and chainsawing people up. Yeah. This one is more of like a surgical kind of
does some dancing.
Yeah, he comes in at like a more of a surgical precision while having just insane commentary on what he's doing.
Oh my god, and shaking his trotters left and right.
It was hard for me when he got going on in a conversation to himself mostly of what the fuck he was talking about. But at the end, it doesn't really matter anyway.
It is something that you can absolutely skim over, but also know that Morrison knew exactly what they were referencing every step of the way. Like, you can look into, like, a commentary, and it's like, oh, this actually refers to this, and this predates this, and this is like it goes... I'm like, it's gobbledygook. But it's also nice to know that I guess it means something.
Yeah.
But what a character.
Yeah.
What a guy.
I think it's a great look, and it's a fun new villain added to, like, the... I think exhausted repertoire of like everything else.
I would say one of the only like lasting villains that Morrison brought to their Batman run.
That's true. Yeah.
Because Pig shows up in a lot of stuff.
Right. Flamingo, on the other hand,
maybe not so lucky.
Very eccentric, and he's teased before a lot before you see him.
Oh yeah.
And once he gets there,
he's essentially like the machete.
Yeah. He rolls up like Liberace on a motorcycle and is ready to eat your face off.
Oh my.
Like, he is like somebody tampered with his brain, so now he has like no emotion whatsoever, and
now
he
just
like
flamingo brain.
He's got flamingo powers.
The most deadly killing machine in the animal kingdom.
Flamingo. I quite like the flamingo in this.
I did too.
It just sucks.
I had no idea if you were gonna like absolutely hate him or really like him.
Oh, I did. I liked him.
Doesn't say a word.
Nope.
Right?
Well, he speaks very little, and when he's finally introduced, when he comes in, but like. Yeah, I would love to see him in some sort of animation or live action, and him just like cha-chaing like around or whatever. Like he's got castanets or whatever. It looks like it's way up his alley. Like, because you first are introduced to him, like, and you don't see him, and he's, like, has his own plane, and he's eating the faces off, like, of all, like, the flight attendants and all this shit, and you're like, holy shit, he's eating faces! He is insane! When he rolls up, looking like Elton John's day off, he was like, really? The flamingo? And then he's quite formidable, and I'm like,
what does Damian say about him when he sees him?
He says something pretty offensive. Something that would definitely get him canceled. I think I sent it to the group chat. Yeah. But so, like, I liked that the introduction of this new Batman and Robin also had new Batman villains as well. He started fresh. He didn't go and just run to the well again.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, too, that Dick Grayson's Batman has circus performers as his first villains, because Dick is a former circus performer.
Right.
So he's got Professor Pig and, like, the Circus of the Strange or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a little bit of Dick's past, but also, like, a little bit of their own Joker, too.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I like it.
Then in the second arc, they cross paths with the Red Hood. Mm-hmm. And that is Jason Todd, who is basically like a Punisher-style vigilante that's, like, out to kill crime.
Right.
And he seems perpetually interested in just marketing himself. Like, the whole thing is like, I need to reinforce the brand.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this? When did he become, like, such a business major?
And, like, because he also has, like, his own
sidekick.
Scarlet.
Yes, who is someone that was scarred by Professor Pig, being turned into a Dollatron, which are, like, his robotic zombie slaves. Which is very off-putting.
Yeah.
That gross, Frank quietly drawn skin mask that they put on their faces.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you're great. You're ugly. You're like, you're really making this brand synergy work. Like, Jason, what the fuck has gotten into you?
You suck.
It even has, like, bright red hair now. And he says, like, Batman used to make me dye it black to be more like Robin.
Yeah.
What are we uncovering here, Morrison? But they capture Dick and Damian and have them tied up on, like, a live webcast, and they're like, call in and we're gonna unmask them, which kind of mirrors the call in for Robin to die or not, which I thought was a fun callback. But then Flamingo oh my god!
I accidentally hung up.
Alright, maybe they'll call back. But then the Flamingo comes in and just fucks up everybody's shit.
Did you notice how much face eating there is in the beginning of this run? There is so much. There's a lot of face ripping, and the ripping of, and then eating of faces in this.
Oh, yeah.
The beginning of this is hyper violent. More violent than I ever remember Batman ever being ever.
Ever?
And I'm like, my Lord, Morrison, he went out for blood in this. At least faces.
Oh my god. I also loved it as Frank quietly drew these. He did all of the Batman onomatopoeias, but it was done in, like, blood or explosions or fluids or something. Every, like, kapow and bang was done visually with, like, what was happening in that panel.
Which is so strange, being how dark. I mean, maybe it was to lighten this thing up. Because I also found, like, right as the opening shot of this whole run here was them in their new Batmobile chasing down just some goons.
Toad. Mr. Toad.
Yes. And they got this new flying Batmobile. I'm like, wow, this is going, like, almost cartoony to what just preceded this. Mm-hmm. And then it gets exponentially darker very quickly on.
Oh, yeah. Just having Mr. Pig, or Professor Pig in this, is just unsettling throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
In the midst of this, like, right in the middle, Robin also is shot and paralyzed.
Oh, yeah.
By the Flamingo, I think.
Yeah, he gets shot right in his back.
Yeah, and put out of commission for a while. They, like, ship him off to Talia al Ghul, his mother, to rebuild him. And she, like, hooks him up with these cybernetics that she can, like, go in and, like, Minority Report remote control him later. Yes. But I do like there is a moment where they have, like, a hard break between the two of them. And he's like, I'm hitched to Batman now, Mom. And she's like, then you've made an enemy of the House of Al Ghul. And he says something like, very well, I hope I can be a worthy one, Mother.
Oh, wow.
Good turn for Damian there. He's always been a bit of a shit. You don't know which way he's going to go. There he made a stand.
That was quite powerful, because, like, that was also a different take on Talia from what I remember too. She seems to be like
she's pretty terrible in this.
She's way cold to like her own son. Like at a point where like I don't even think you were like this in the last one. Like
no,
you were quite loving of your son from what I remember.
Yep.
But like yeah,
he's
she's
half
like
robot now.
You're cold to me, you fucking Roomba of fucking Robin. You are.
As this goes on, we get to our third arc and third artist, Cameron Stewart, now on art duties, where Dick goes to London. Mm-hmm. Ye old London!
Yes.
To find a Lazarus Pit, because wouldn't you know it, he has just had Batman's corpse stowed away for a special occasion.
Right.
And someone mentioned a Lazarus Pit, and that got his wheels spinning, and he's like, you know what, maybe I'm going to
worked pretty good for Jason Todd.
Yeah.
We should probably try it again.
He hasn't double-crossed us lately. I mean, like, within the last week. So they head off to London, they track down a Lazarus Pit, he encounters Batwoman.
Out of nowhere.
This was like the Greg Rucka Batwoman era, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, had to be.
Love her costume in this.
Same.
Such a good look.
She, like, literally came out of nowhere. Because one of my notes I was taking for this, it's like, why is it such a coincidence that you just upturn this coffin and Batwoman is in it, ready to join your party at any time? Less denotes to me, in the next issue, it shows how she got there through her own, like, adventurous means or whatever. But I'm like, well, that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
We also have, like, Knight and Squire there as well.
Yep, yeah.
Who, when I first got there, when I was reading this, I'm like, when does Batman Incorporated start? Because I know Batman Incorporated involves, like, a worldwide sanction of Batman.
You just wait till Man and Bat.
And I knew Knight and Squire were one of them.
Yeah. Well, they were in the Black Hand part, too, where, like, the heroes all went to the island.
I forgot about that.
The Club of Heroes, or whatever it was.
And that was fun. And I actually quite like Knight and Squire. They're a fun...
I do, too.
They're a fun play on the Batman and Robin dynamic.
Yeah. They all kind of work together. They try to reanimate Bruce's corpse, and they find out that it is not Bruce's corpse. It's actually like a duplicate clone that Darkseid and Desaad had created during Final Crisis.
Yeah.
And like left it there as a prank. I don't know.
Got him.
This is one of those things where it's like, all right, it's just a comic. But like, when did they switch this out and why?
Right.
So they've just been like carrying around this dead corpse of a clone so that when they dip it in the Lazarus Pit, it comes back like all Frankenstein's monster and they have to fight it.
Yeah. So is it my research that went back and had this make more sense, or do they follow up
Probably
on that?
that.
Or do they follow up on that in the next issue or whatever?
I don't recall. I read it and was confused and probably looked into some stuff and had it explained to me, and then I don't know if it ever actually explained it in the book.
There's a mighty page count in this. I don't want to go back and flip through it again.
Yeah.
But like, I was...
They do reveal eventually that it was like a clone from Darkseid, but I don't think they give you a whole lot more than that. Remember where there was like the 3 Batmen that Dr. Hurt created that were like cops that put through this torturous, rigorous thing that turned him into like Batman?
Yes.
But they all like broke down and went crazy because only Bruce can like be Batman. Only he can take that much trauma.
Yeah.
And that happened in Final Crisis too, where they like kept trying to inject all these life events of Bruce Wayne's past into them, and the clones like just went crazy. They couldn't handle it. So
they couldn't handle all the reboots that happened during that time.
Yes.
Do we need to do Final Crisis again?
I think we do. Right now.
It is insane.
Right along.
Stop this. We're doing Final Crisis. No. I am in, like, it's insane that our first 3 episodes ever of this show dive into Morrison, and it's to lead up to Final Crisis.
I know.
And we didn't know justice.
I remember enjoying it more on that second read-through. Like, it really,
me too. Yeah.
It stuck with me. I was like, yeah, that was really fun. There's not a whole lot like Final Crisis.
Could you imagine Neil reading Final Crisis?
Oh my god.
Can it happen?
Can you imagine Paul reading Final Crisis?
Let's get it. Hashtag trending.
Call in the number. Call on the bat phone.
Yeah, call on the bat phone. Here's a crisis hotline also for Paul after he reads Final Crisis.
Let's get him on here just for his synopsis. Final Crisis. And then Superman sings a song. Maybe he makes a sale.
Superman made the sale and saves the day.
So once they realize this is the fake Bruce, it becomes apparent that, hey, you know what? Bruce might not actually be dead. Mm-hmm. He could be anywhere. He could be traveling through time.
That's literally the train of thought they had, and I'm just like, the fuck are you talking about?
It's like someone just was ready to spout out a bunch of possibilities, and someone just stopped them after their first. And then they all agreed that, like, yeah, that's where he's at.
There were a lot of questions we had during the run of this, and we actually had the opportunity.
Oh my god!
To talk to.
We pulled in an expert.
We did. We had
scholar.
A ringer, if you will.
We did some research of our own by reading someone else's research here. We went to our own black dossier. The Anatomy of Zur-En-Arrh, understanding Grant Morrison's Batman. Emphasis on that subtitle there. And we actually called up Cody Walker, the author of this reference book, and we talked with him a little bit to maybe iron out some of our own theories on this.
Yes. Some of our hard-hitting questions, like, so Dr. Hurt,
what's up with that?
Also, Omega beams, do they do things?
Yes or no?
Needless to say, throughout an entire 2-hour conversation, we did get answers.
Right.
The answers we wanted? I'm not sure.
Nope. But might have come away with more questions.
And like, he had such a calmness to his answers that it's like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, he's a scholar.
Yeah,
he's an
more
educator.
than us, of course.
Yeah.
And like, I walked away with it like, but wait a minute.
Damn it! So, one of our questions was, what's up with Dr. Hurt?
Yeah.
Because he plays a prominent role here. We had an introduction to him in Rest in Peace, and now he ends up being the big bad behind all this. He's orchestrating things. He's El Penitente or whatever he is. Yeah. And we're like, what is he? Is he the devil? Is he Thomas Wayne? What is Dr. Hurt? So we went right to, not the source, but a source, a resource, and he kind of walked us through this.
Yeah.
How I've always viewed Hurt is that the whole book is a book about identity, right? We think about Batman, he's lots of things in that run. There's a line that always sticks with me. Someone says, "You're cool like James Bond," and he goes, "Oh no, I'm much cooler than him." Morrison is commenting on the fact that, like, Batman is so many things, but he's also more than all of those things. Batman is James Bond, but he's cooler than James Bond. And he's a detective, but he's better than every other detective, you know? And likewise, when we think about Darkseid is supposed to be the representation of the mythological dragon. He's supposed to be Grendel. Batman is Beowulf. And they are all of these things that, if you look at them from many different prisms, they are everything that you want them to be. And so I set all of that up. I know you asked about Dr. Hurt. I preface all of that to talk about Hurt, because Hurt's identity is so many things, right? Is that we think at the very start he's either the devil, which was not super clear when you read it the first time. Like, if you remember, like, I know that I was reading it month to month, and I remember when I read that issue, and I was like, I don't know what's going on with this. And I remember
there's a lot of times I said that.
Yeah. Well, I remember getting online after that, and people saying, they're like, "Oh, he's supposed to be the devil," and I'm like, "The devil? Like the devil's devil? Like the real devil?"
Like, devil?
Yeah. And I remember Morrison saying that he's either Thomas Wayne, Bruce's dad, or he's the devil. And he has to be one or the other of those two things. And you just have to accept that one of them is. And
I'm sorry to interrupt, but like,
okay.
if those are my two choices,
yeah,
I'd be like, Why are those my two choices?
Yeah. Well,
Grant, do you know how choices work?
yeah, but I think what I love about it is if you think about it, Dr. Hurt, we actually see Dr. Hurt prior to that in the Club of Heroes storyline, that 3-issue Club of Heroes storyline, where he's undercover as someone else. So again, it's identity. We saw Dr. Hurt and didn't know it. We thought he was someone else. And so again, is he this other guy? Is he Thomas Wayne? Is he the devil? It's all just shifting identities and things. I like to personally believe that he is the devil, that he is Lucifer himself. And I know that later on in Batman and Robin, all of that kind of changes. And I'm fine with that too, because later on he's repurposed for a different thing. He's an ancestor of Bruce Wayne that is possessed by the hyper-adapter. And the hyper-adapter is also an aspect of fear that Bruce Wayne uses to be Batman. And you go, it's all just interweaving and it's all together. And you go, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever read. And it's also the most confusing. And that's also why I love it. Like, you're not supposed to figure it totally out. Like, if you figured all of it out, it would be like, it's like those jerks that are like, this is the true ending of Twin Peaks. Like, shut up. No, it's not.
So it turns out, don't worry about it.
Yeah. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Right.
That's pretty much the gist of it, right?
Yeah. He was an ancestor of Bruce. He was a Thomas Wayne from like a bygone era.
Yeah.
Who was infused with the... You're already like...
No, I'm still there.
Get Cody back on the horn. Infused by like Darkseid's energy that turned him into this immortal evil being.
Yes. And he also is a Thomas Wayne, but not the Thomas Wayne.
Even though when we first see him, he is saying he is the Thomas Wayne.
Yes.
A lot of questions. We just wanted clarification.
But also, is he the devil? You could say yes.
Why not?
I don't know.
Just to say Batman fought the devil, why not?
Yes.
So with Dr. Hurt back in the picture in this, he comes face to face with Dick Grayson Batman and little Damian Robin.
Yeah.
And we also are reintroduced to the Joker under the guise of Oberon Sexton.
The Gravedigger.
The Gravedigger. Lauded mystery writer and detective. And this was kind of one of those red herrings where you're like, could that be Bruce?
Yeah.
Bruce?
Right.
I think Damian thinks it might be. Turns out, the Joker.
I hated this. This was, I feel like, the one misstep Morrison had in this. When it was...
It was like that Magneto moment of New X-Men to me. Where I'm like, it's like, what else could it be? But, like, that doesn't make it good.
No.
You know?
Like, I was enjoying not having, like, the famous rogues gallery in here. And
which, for the most part, it isn't.
Right. But, like, there is a play of, like, a Joker train of thought in this that I like. But when it was revealed that this Gravedigger personality is the Joker, I'm just like, God damn it. Like, I was enjoying, like, the mystery of having it be anybody else.
Yeah.
And it was him. And when it was revealed that it was him, I'm just like, fuck. All right, well, here we go. And then it ended up, like, he's kind of there and, like, he's doing his own thing.
Yeah, he's more of like a helper to them than anything else in this.
Right.
Because him and Hurt are kind of at odds with each other.
Yeah.
You've got the chaotic evil of the Joker and like the malicious evil of Hurt.
Yes. Because Joker is one to realize like, oh, this isn't the real Batman.
Right.
It's some crony in a suit.
Yeah.
It could even be this Robin that I may not have killed.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure. I like that, and to the point where Joker is like to himself, wait a minute, I could do good. Or at least help and do not so necessarily good.
Right.
But I could be on the other side of things trying to take down this asshole. And that was interesting.
Yeah, I do like that. I wish maybe they explored that a little bit more. Like, I could have gone for a full-on prose issue like we got in the first omnibus there. It's like, maybe we just get in the Joker's headspace.
Yeah.
The most we get is the moment where Robin goes to interrogate him with a crowbar and beats the piss out of him.
Oh, boy, does he.
But yeah, Joker kind of left me wanting a bit more in this. I do like the idea that he's constantly changing and evolving throughout it.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite buy that just like he's suddenly gonna help him.
Right. In just like a turn of a dime type deal. Yeah, I agree.
As this kind of concludes, and we should say this is acting concordantly with the Return of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But the Batman and Robin arc basically reaches its conclusion where they do get Bruce back.
Yes.
He comes in at the nick of time to save Gotham. Pig is running amok. The Dolatrons are attacking everyone. Dick is shot in the head by Dr. Hurt.
Yep.
Hurt's the devil, maybe. Who knows what's what?
It's a lot of shit going down.
But right when it matters, Bruce comes back, and they all team up, and they get the job done.
Yep.
But strangely enough, Hurt is defeated by the Joker. Through a banana peel.
That was actually set up like an issue or two beforehand.
Yes.
Which I really appreciated because it was like almost like a Chekhov's banana peel. He was eating one and threw it and like made mention of it, or the art at least made mention of it, and I'm like, oh shit, someone's gonna wreck their shit on that, and
It's
then
Bruce.
nothing happened. And
Comes back through time, breaks his back. I did love that. That just this little throwaway thing is all it takes to take down maybe the literal devil. And the Joker buries him alive. And I think that's the last we ever see of Dr. Hurt.
Thank God. He's a bit much for me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take on. Especially in this run, when you like take
When there's so much other shit going
oh,
on.
but so much other shit. We're leaving so much out, not to ruin another episode. That like, all I want to do is now talk about that because I've exhausted my energy on this.
Talk about that as in the banana peel.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, good news, Bat fans.
Yeah.
Because this week, you're getting a 2-for-1.
Uh-huh.
Because we've reached our runtime on this. And we haven't even got to the Return of Bruce Wayne. And what better time to bring on the Return of Bruce Wayne than Easter Sunday?
Bat Jesus.
Bat Jesus. Bit of a messiah figure.
Uh-huh.
So tune in on Easter morning
for
for our continuation of this, where we go into the Return of Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
One weird ass thing that stuck out to me is, what the fuck is up with Dick Grayson's bat emblem on his chest during this sequence? Did you notice this?
What?
It is like flopping all over the place.
Oh yeah, I did notice that.
I was like, what is going on with this? Like, it's peeling off.
What is going on there?
And it's never addressed or anything.
What? Morrison, I know you're watching. Why the floppy emblem?
Look at that floppy
It's just
fuck.
peeling off.
I don't know what that means. It's just like a popped collar.
That was his new He just wanted to pop that.
Pop that bat.
Well, after that, I've just got nothing.
Nothing can follow that up.
after that.
Unless he slips on a banana peel or something. And then the thing flaps and saves him as he floats back down to Earth. Oh my god, if you didn't notice, we're very drunk on this one. So the best way to approach a Morrison book, I believe.
Loosey-goosey.
That's right. We didn't have any psychedelics, and I've got some edibles, but they would just put us to sleep. So,
Oh, absolutely it would.
so we're wrapping this one up very loose. Tune in very soon. Same bat time, same bat channel, as we talk about the concurrently running series, The Return of Bruce Wayne. But in the meantime, feel free to join our Patreon for access to our Discord, among other things.
That's
but we chat about shit like this. And we also have some great Bat Year merch on our Redbubble page.
You bet we do. And if you have any theories on the floppy bat symbol, please let us know in the comments down below. What the fuck?
It's really all we're interested in right now.
At this point in the episode, that's all I care about.
Yep.
So
the next episode might even just cover that.
But until next time we talk about Bat God, I have been Troy to the Max Extreme.
Ghost Hunter Dave.
We've been IMPERIUS REX. We'll see you Easter. Goodbye.
All right. Should we just get right into it? Keep this momentum?
I do have to pee.